Yes, indeedy. That was April N. Smith opening the show with a song called One Two Step Away. And welcome to episode number 23 of Tunesday Tuesday with your host, me, Boston Chris. And for the next hour or two, we're going to be assaulting your eardrums with amazing music. And trust me, it is amazing music. So kick back and relax, and we're going to enjoy some tunes tonight. But before we do, we're going to be chatting with my buddy April N. Smith from the Longview Dangerfield area of East Texas. She has a brand new song out that we're going to be talking about tonight, as well as a lot more stuff. So, yeah, you guys stick around for that interview. That'll be coming up in about 1 minute. However, if you are here afterwards, in other words, on YouTube, and you're wondering, where did the music go? Well, that means you probably just found the interview portion of this show, in which case you can find a full recap for the show down there in your description. There will be a link to episode number 23. If you are watching live out there, guys, on either Twitch or Facebook, you are more than welcome to request a song whenever you would like to. And all donations during this show will obviously not only go to support the show, but if we reach $20 in total donations and bits combined, then we will add an additional 60 minutes of music tonight. That means an hour longer stream. So if you want to support the channel, make sure you do that, either bits through Twitch or donations. You can find me at ETX Rocks on PayPal, or I think it's X Boston Chris X on Cash App. Or if you're in Twitch, just type !donate in your chat. Anyway, without any further ado, let's get over and chat with my buddy April N. Smith, who's ready to talk about her brand new single, which is called Broke My Rose-Colored Glasses. Let's get into that. April, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
So, just telling everybody about your brand new song, which is called Broke My Rose-Colored Glasses. And first of all, before we start chatting, I've known you a long time. I just want you to know how proud of you that I am, of how far you have come. I think you and I met for ETX Got Talent or something like that in Gilmer. Do you remember that?
Yes, yes, that's when we met for sure the first
Yeah,
time.
I think that was one or two last names ago, right?
Yeah, maybe a few. Yeah. We won't talk about that, but yes, that's right.
Yeah, and again with COVID and everything, we started letting people take over our social media platform, and you were one of the artists that did that as well in 2020. Just a long history that you and I have together in this music thing. It's so cool to see your name on the charts, and
Oh, thank
I
you.
know how hard you've worked over the years at it, and how passionate you are for your music. So congratulations on all that. It's got to be surreal, right?
It absolutely is. It's definitely one of those moments where you just can't believe it when you see it, and it just keeps coming. And so I'm
Yeah.
thankful for it.
Yeah, and just to see you fronting a band, like up on these big stages too, like it's because I know you paused a lot of this to be a mom, right?
I did. I paused for a long time to raise my three girls, and then when most of them were out of the house, I still had one at home. Whenever I started going back out professionally, but she was old enough she could kind of take care of herself, and so it worked out where I could do both. And thankful to be back out there.
So what's it like, just like getting started again, like kick-starting everything all over again? I mean, it's going to be tough to be so passionate about your art and then pausing it for something else that you're obviously passionate about. Motherhood is no joke either, but then just kind of kick-starting that passion again. It's going to be tough, right?
Well, it definitely was a transition for me to remember what it felt like. But the minute that you get a taste of it, obviously it just all comes flooding back to you. But a lot of the songs that I wrote, I say I'm thankful for that pause, because if it hadn't been for that pause, I would not have lived enough life to be able to write the music that I wrote. And so, in a way, I'm thankful for that. And coming back to it was like coming home. And so it was a very much welcoming feeling whenever I got back on the stage, and I've been very blessed with wonderful musicians who there behind me, and so it's just home.
Do you feel like the lyrics have changed now that you've lived a lot of life?
Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. Yes, the lyrics definitely have a lot deeper meaning. I think a lot of the things that I wrote yeah, when I was younger were so superficial, and I go back and I listen to myself now and I'm like, golly, what was I writing about?
Yeah,
Now I look and I'm like, yeah, that's life, that's living.
yeah.
So
It's just
it's something.
that's called a phase in life, right? Like, and
Exactly.
it's hard to kind of reminisce on that if there's not a pause, right? Like if you're just living that art over and over again, you may not even know that there is an evolution process happening. But art always evolves; it always changes with the landscape that it's brought to. So I mean, just to let people know out there, we're all over the world right now. So you are from Northeast Texas, obviously, in my neck of the woods, Longview and Dangerfield, and around that area. So
Mhm.
what's it like kind of growing up in that environment musically?
Well, I grew up in Dangerfield, lived here my whole life. I loved it so much I moved across the street whenever
Yeah,
I got married. And the blessing and a curse because everybody knows who you are and everybody knows who you are. I say that
yeah,
all the time. It was interesting because whenever I was growing up, East Texas was studded with all these little opera houses that you could kind of get your feet wet on the stage, and there wasn't a lot of judgment in that. And I learned a ton just from watching other artists on the stage, how they presented themselves, and from the musicians. And so I feel like I was very blessed to be surrounded by a lot of community that supported live music and was willing to foster the love of that in me at a young age and allow me to grow that from the time I was 12 years old on stage up until I graduated high school. And that during those 6 years, I feel like that's where I kind of got my basis for who I was going to be as an artist. And then since then, the lyrics and the life have grown along with what I was taught then. So I feel like that I was very blessed to grow up in Northeast Texas.
yeah. East Texas has a very diverse set of venues as well. Even though,
Mm.
like with COVID and stuff like that, obviously a lot of venues have disappeared, unfortunately. But yeah, there's just a diverse set. You mentioned the Opries. You got churches and restaurants and
Mm.
festivals and fairs, and there's just so many different ways to get your art out there in East Texas, which is a great
Mm.
thing. But it can also be a bad thing because oversaturation and trying to break through that can really hinder an artist as well. I know that you've also obviously performed outside of East Texas, outside of Texas even. What's it like kind of getting away from your own neighborhood and sharing your art elsewhere?
Well, I've been very blessed actually that we've had good crowds. We've had lots of good response. People are very receptive, even though I'm not from the area. So I felt like that even though we were leaving what we were used to, we've gotten a great response. And it's always neat to see the different places and how the venues are set up and how they do music and just the difference in people and where they live and how they respond to music is interesting to see.
Yeah, and also, I'd be remiss without pointing out some major milestones for you. One being signed to the Smith Music Group, which, for those of you that are outside of Texas, is kind of it when it comes to distribution deals in Texas. It is the cream of the crop here, in my opinion. Um,
Hmm.
you've also got a new female Texas female artist of the year nomination as well. This is going to be good stuff. Again, you're looking at the charts too. You see your name on there with people like Wade Bowen and the Bree
Hmm.
Bagwells and all of these massive names that we both just love and adore. I know it's going to be crazy seeing that, right?
Well, it is, and a lot of those people they're just such heroes of mine as far as
Right.
music goes, and the fact that I know them and have conversations with them in general is crazy. But for your name to be right up there with them, it definitely is validating to what I do. And most people don't know that I teach school, and so I teach school all day long, and then in the evenings I go sing, and on the weekends, then I'm traveling all over the place, and so sometimes I get caught up on the fact that I'm a school teacher and a mom, and I forget, hey, but you got this whole other thing that you are too, and so it does validate that, and it makes me feel like I am doing the right thing. So,
What's that like having that two sides of the same coin, teacher and entertainer?
well, it's fun actually because the kids think it's awesome,
Yeah, of
and
course.
Yeah, and I'm pretty excited this year. They did ask me if I would be a part of career day. And so I get to set up and talk to the kids and like show all this stuff. And so that's going to be really fun for them to really see exactly what I do. But yeah, it's definitely, it's a passion. But I've always said if I didn't teach another day in my life, then I'd be okay. But if I didn't sing another day in my life, that would be detrimental. So
Yeah.
I'm blessed that I have two jobs that I absolutely love and am passionate about. But I know where my heart is for sure.
What's your favorite kind of gig to perform at? Is it full band? Is it acoustic? What is it for you?
It's full band. I mean, when we're all up there and there's feet moving on the floor, I mean, just the energy in the room rises and it's just a big party for us.
Mhm.
And so the guys that I play with have been playing for, a long time. They've been professional musicians. That's all they do. And so to see them still enjoy it and to laugh and cut up and have a good time with me and I can throw them under the bus and we can, do things that we've never done before and they're willing to go right off the cliff with me. And so
that's that's the
they're
that's the tour life right there in a nutshell.
yeah, exactly. So they're great, and so I love when we can all be together because it's just family, and
Yeah.
we get together and catch up and have a good time and eat dinner together, and stand in the parking lot till 3 in the morning talking because we didn't see each other 2 days ago or
Yeah.
something. We
Yeah.
still need to talk about things. So, but it's fun, and
Explain to
that's
people
my
out there
favorite.
that may not know how hard it is to get to that point, right? Where your bandmates are brothers and your family and all that. Like, it doesn't happen overnight. Like, there's a lot of, you got to go through the audition period and get the right musicians, and the sound has to
Mm.
be good. The chemistry has to be good. You have to be tight, all of that. There's such a process involved in that. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, I think that there is a process, but unfortunately, I was kind of saved from it. I really haven't changed band members much. The guys that started with me 8 years ago are, for the most part, who still play for me. I had a connection with a band director. Kind of, he had a lot of different musicians that played for him, and very first guitar player that ever came to play for me was Jerry Matheny, and he's been with me for 8 years now. And Craig Langford followed soon after that on the bass guitar, and I've been very blessed. The only change out that I've had to have is I had to change drummers, but it wasn't because of a chemistry. It was because he had a family thing that he had
Mm-hmm.
to step away from, and I understood that. And it just so happened that the guy who came in and stepped in for him, this is a really funny story. He was filling in that night on drums for us, and he said, "Well, I hear you're from East Texas." I said, "I am," and he told me where he was from, or I told him where I was from, and he said, "Well, I've got family from out there." I said, "Who?" And he told me. I said, "Shut up." I said, "You're my first cousin." And
No
we had no
way.
idea.
That's
And so
amazing.
cousin Rex sits behind me on the drums now, and he's been drumming for us for a while. And it's just, I've been very blessed. But
So
I
literal family on the drums.
literal family, yeah, literal family hanging out. But like I said, Jerry and Craig, they're family. Bobby, hit Bobby Buckland on the keys. He's been with me for 4 years now or so, and I'm very fortunate I didn't have to go through that back and forth of who are we going to
Yeah.
use.
It's
I
hard.
just was it's very hard. I hear
Yeah.
other people that have gone through it, and I just thank the Lord that he brought the right people at the right time in my life that have stuck with me and really helped build my brand. And
Yeah.
so I've been very fortunate.
Do these guys play in the studio too on your recordings?
Jerry has played on some of my studio recordings. Milo Deering, he plays steel guitar for me sometimes and
Yeah.
fiddle whenever the gig allows for that kind of budget. And he plays on all my albums. And so, yeah, there's several of them that do come into the studio and play, but some of them don't. So,
In case you
but
guys don't know out there, Milo Deering literally can play everything. I mean, I'm
oh
not
yeah,
kidding. I'm not kidding.
yes.
If it has strings on it, Milo can play it.
Oh well, he also plays the flute and the tuba,
Yeah. Yep.
and so I
Yep.
mean the piano, drums. He plays it all. It's
Yeah, and
crazy.
his daughter is equally talented, by the way,
Oh
Scarlett.
yes,
Oh my
Scarlett.
gosh,
Scarlett's
man.
crazy.
Man, you just never know who you're going to talk about on this show, man. It's so great. Let's talk about April's pick of the week. As you guys may know, we have several segments on the show. I'm really loving this gig that we do every Tuesday night. And April's pick of the week is a song called "Girl Going Nowhere" by the incredible Ashley McBryde. Why is this
Mm.
your song pick for the week, April?
Well, the first time I heard it, I thought, gosh, if there was ever a song that was written about my life, then here we go. Because, like I said, I grew up in a small town, and I can identify with that because everybody just knew me as the little girl who liked to sing at Captain Dangerfield days. And,
Hmm.
she sang at church. But it was never really a thought. And I still think that to this day, there's still people who don't buy into the success that I've had, and they don't see it, just because I'm April, and that's who they've always known me as. I'm Hope's mom, I'm Cammie's mom, I'm Madison's mom, and I mean, and that I am all of those things too. But whenever I heard it, I thought, I remember when I got that first award nomination. The first year I came back into the music scene, and to be recognized that first time, and I just thought, it's not bad for a
Hmm.
girl that they said wasn't really going to make it, and it wasn't long after that that she came out with this song. And so I don't know, I kind of consider it an anthem for me, so that's why I picked it.
Man, it's crazy how a nomination can do that for you, how
Mhm.
validating it can be, even especially if you're not like actively seeking it out, right? Like you're not trying to get your fans to vote for it and all of that, man. I know exactly how that is. Like we got nominated for, I think it was Internet Personality of the Year one year from TRRR's, and they sent me an email on it, and I was just like, wow, now that's pretty
Mm.
dang cool, right? Like
Right, yeah.
people are paying attention. So that's
Hmm.
and that's the great, absolute great thing about Texas is having that infrastructure here to where people that you are contemporaries with notice, right? I
Right.
love that, and the new single from April is an incredible song. I can't wait to play it for everybody out there. Once again, it's called "Broken Rose Colored Glasses," right?
Broke my rose colored glasses, yes
Broke my
sir.
rose-colored glasses. I don't know why I glitched out there for a minute. Tell us
You're
about
good.
this. Tell us about the song. It's amazing, man. It's truly Texas country.
Yes, it is very much. So, I had a terrible life experience. I always say everything that I write, it had to have come from the heart, because if I wrote it, I had to have experienced it.
Yeah.
And so, I just had this terrible life experience, and this song came to me, and I wrote it back in July, I guess it was, and I got stuck, and I had like two lines that I could not fill in. And so I contacted Tim Slasner. He lives over at Hideaway Estates just outside of Tyler, and I knew him as a songwriter. We'd never written anything together, but he had told me if I ever needed anything, give him a call. So I called him up and I said, "Hey man, I am stuck on this song. I need two lines. If I send it to you, would you look at it?" He said, "Yeah, sure." 15 minutes later, he sends it back to me. Song finished, music written, completely in a different direction than what I thought it was going to be,
Of
and I
course.
fell in love with it. I sent it to my bass player and I was like, "Craig, listen to this. What do you think about this?" And he called me. He said, "Oh my God, I love it." And so I sent it to Greg White over at SG Studios, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm on fire about this one. Let's get it." And Milo and Aiden Bubeck, who previously played with Miranda, and Brendan Gilman and Josh Rogers came into the studio, and it was just like magic. It just all fell right into place, and I could not be more pleased with the way it turned
Yeah,
out.
and it charted everywhere. I mean, there's like
Oh
three.
yeah,
I mean, there's three or four charts here in Texas, and I know it was on all of them. It's
yes.
just super awesome. I'm excited to play the song. What's going on with you? What's coming up for you? You got new music? You got gigs, tours? What's going on?
I do. I have a new song that's going to be coming out May the 16th. Very excited about it. It's one of those that pushes right at the edge of not country. So it's just a little bit edgier than I've ever done before.
Okay.
And it follows along the same storyline with Broke My Rose Colored Glasses. It's kind of the next step in the process. And then we have two more songs to follow after that follow exactly the same story pattern. Like I said, it's like a storyboard all year long. So we have those four songs, and then another song that I wrote actually 9 years ago, and we've recently revived it, and I'm super excited about what's going to happen with that song towards the end of the year. It'll be a little bit before we release that, but lots of new music coming out for the rest of the year, and we're going to be opening for Stony LaRue
Ooh.
at um, oh, Rock the Boat. I was trying to remember what the name of it. They changed the name. It's called Rock the Boat out at Lake Bob Sandlin, July 4th weekend. I'm very excited about that, but we've got lots of full band gigs around East Texas and in the Dallas area in the next few months. So be sure you check out my calendar and come out and see us sometime. It's gonna be a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
and the website is April N Smith music.com. That's where you can find all of that stuff, her tour, all of her social medias, stuff like that. I love the waterfall effect of releasing singles.
Hmm.
I think that's one of the coolest things that has happened in the new I guess instant access music industry. I love that. Meaning, just one single every couple of months, kind of like a waterfall. But do you plan on taking all of these songs and putting out a CD with all of them included, or is that just secondary to you?
Well, I released an album to begin with. I released enough back in 2020,
Mm-hmm.
the album. And what I found was that I kind of did things backwards and got the cart before the horse.
Mm-hmm.
And I have some really great songs on that album that never saw radio airplay because the album came out and then it was, you can't release this to radio now unless you recut it as
Yep.
something completely different. I didn't know that. It's a learning process for me. I thought, boy, I'm going to get out there and put this album out, and I've got all these great songs, and then I messed up. And so that's the reason I've held off on trying to do another album. But now the issue more is nobody owns CD players anymore.
That's right.
Nobody can play them. I have CDs still out that people can get, but they just, I sell some every show, but not the way that they would have sold, 4 years ago
Yeah.
whenever it first came out. And so I'm a little hesitant. We've talked about vinyl, pressing some vinyl, but that process is pretty extensive and very expensive.
Very
A lot,
expensive.
a lot of
Yes.
people don't realize how expensive it is to press vinyl, and so it's kind of been a hesitation. So we've just stuck with doing singles, but I'm not going to rule it out. I'm not going to say that we'll never do it. I just think that right now we're doing what makes sense for us, and it seems to be working. So that's what we're going to keep doing.
Well, I'm so stinking excited for you and everything you got going on. And again, so proud of you and just being a mom. And didn't know you were a teacher, but that makes it even
Yeah.
cooler. Just from where you've come from before the pause to where you are now, just awesome stuff. And you're always welcome here, always.
I appreciate that very much. Very
Yeah.
much. I
And
appreciate
I
that.
want to remind everybody again, it's at April N. Smith Music. That's pretty much everywhere you can follow along with her at that tag. And it's aprilnsmithmusic.com. You guys make sure you're checking that out. If you're watching on the YouTube recap of this, you can find those links in the description below. April, thank you so much for your time tonight.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too. Let's get into the music, y'all. I'll catch you later, April.
Okay, thanks.
All right, bye bye.
Bye.
All right, you guys hopefully can still hear me. Guys, man, it's so cool um, to chat with an old friend like April. I've known April for a really long time. And again, man, I get emotional when I see and hear some of the folks that I've known for 8, 10 years just absolutely killing it. And April is one of those that is absolutely killing it. I'm excited to share her brand new song, Broke My Rose Colored Glasses. Sorry for the glitch, April. It's Broke My Rose Colored Glasses. And here it is by the one and only April N. Smith.